If there's any issues, then we'll have to deal with it elsewhere. Anyway, as we go into Cloud Kingdom, we have spawning on the bottom left QED Blood Mist as the blue Terran. And up in the top right, we have the Protoss from mGG, Tartare Source.
Sorry there, I couldn't quite pronounce his name.
You're right, I'm a chef, so I know what Tartare is meant to be said.
Yeah, I like that kind of sauce. It's actually some good sauce, just saying.
But unfortunately, Blood Mist is not a fish, so therefore it is not an instant win for Tartare, and he's going to have to fight for this. It's interesting what Tartare's builds are going to be. I'm expecting that he obviously has a different build lined up than what Maverick was running, being that he's seen what Maverick ran and he saw that Blood Mist had the perfect counter to it and was ready and prepared. So at least to see how Tartare goes about it on this map.
Yeah, let's not hope it's another 7-gate all-in.
They're always exciting, 7-gate all-ins, because you never know whether they could work or not. It's just Blood Mist had obviously prepared for that build from Maverick and did everything correct to defend for it. He didn't miss a beat. Had the 3 bunkers up, had everything up.
Yep, he defended it very well. Very calm. Didn't really panic.
No, of course. A call out from the chat is they're betting for a two base Colossus build from Tartare Source. So we'll see if that is true. You don't win everything. You don't win anything if that's true. But never mind. We'll just see what happens from there. But a 2 base Colossus is the call out for Tartare Source.
2 base Colossus. That's pretty solid. Seems to be like what everyone seems to be doing. Protoss vs Terran. Just sit on 2 bases, mass up a bit, push out, see if you can win. If not, take another expansion.
Yeah, it's even what I do. I go 2 base off and into Colossus, as it just seems to be the standard and most secure way to defeat balls mid game, as you need that splash damage from the Colossi to deal with it. Main worry about that is a decent drop. If the Colossi aren't in position when the drop happens, you can lose them very quickly and lose a lot to them.
That's the thing about going Colossus builds. You're stuck to one tech tree for a really long time, and on top of that, your army is not that mobile. Like, you have to substitute your non-mobility on the Colossus dealing lots of damage. You have to get blink stalkers or charge lots. You have to be able to keep your base alive. If you move your army out and he attacks your base, you're guaranteed to lose something in your base. You won't get back there in time. That's the problem with Colossus builds. They're very defensive.
Exactly, but Blood Mist is being cheeky here. He's actually feigning the expansion. He's dropping down the bunker, and he's dropped down the 2 racks, but he has not gone for the expansion. So he's going to meta the metagaming gods here.
This seems legit. Like, it seems like he could really trick him if he can't get. He's not going to get past that bunker. And I don't know if a probe gets. If it gets close enough, I don't know if it could catch a glimpse of where the next.
No, he's even getting a 4 racks down. So this is going to be a 4 racks push. Interesting to see if he gets 5 racks. This is going to be an all-in from Blood Mist.
Yes, and meanwhile Tartare just 3-gate.
He's going for a 3.
Seems like he's going for an expo.
If he 3-gate and if he micros and responds to it in time, is more than enough to deal with what Blood Mist has coming. Because he might have to give up the expansion, but he'll be able to hold the ramp. And if he continues to hold the ramp, then Blood Mist has got himself behind in the game. This push, will he push the Zealot past? I don't think he went far enough to see if the expansion was up. I don't know. I think he might have actually gone far enough to see the expansion wasn't being built.
I think, yeah, the glimpse, it should have picked up if there was a command center there. Because he just caught the furthest mineral patch towards that bunker. Which means you should have been able to see that command center. So he might know this could be an all-in. But
he still dropped a command center, he still dropped a Nexus in reply though.
This could be interesting. He could have misread it, or he didn't spot it in time. And he just thinks that there's going to be a command center coming down at some point. But he should know when he sees this amount of Marines push out. It should be pretty clear.
Exactly. It's all going to come down as to where he gets his army and how he defends it. He's getting a robot up now. You should see how many sentries he gets out. He's going to need a nice high sentry count to prevent this when it happens.
Well, if the push pushes now, he could have 4 sentries by the time that push gets there, but that's pushing it 4 sentries with no.
And he's pulling SCVs. This Stalker will spot it though.
Yeah, that's the. Is he gonna throw down a
Will
different
he cancel
gateways?
this expansion? He needs to either cancel the expansion or start getting some
God.
sentries out in a hurry.
Oh no, he wants the stalkers.
Stalkers. Oh, this is not good at
That's
all. I don't know if
not
he
a
realizes
good
how much
tactic
is being
unit.
pulled towards his base.
Oh, yeah, he should. That he did. Yeah, he cancels it.
Oh, cancelled it just
the
in
cancel.
time. But there might still be too much coming up this ramp. He's chrono
no
boosting now, but these Marines need to head up. There's no sentries yet. And the Marines are up from Blood Mist. They're in the base. They're going to start causing havoc. The
building a
bunker's
bunker.
going down.
Good solid.
He's target firing the robotics bay down, but robotics utility down. He's better off targeting the stalkers though. These pros are being pulled now to try and prevent this SCV from finishing this bunker. It won't succeed because they're not target firing the right thing. A lot of probes are falling.
He can't.
Oh,
that's
Blood Mist is doing so well in attacking here. Beautiful stutter step, beautiful attack. The Stalkers were a nice move. He needed those sentry though, and he just warped in those 3 Stalkers at the wrong time. He's trying to micro his heart out here, Tartet Source, but I don't think he'll be able to do enough.
No, I don't think he can. Like, he just, all his units are getting cancelled. He's about to have an unpowered few dozen buildings. He doesn't look like he can hold it. He's trying to pick up the Marines as they come up the ramp. That bunker is just, it's not, he doesn't have any sentries to force field the SCVs away, so it's going to be really hard to shut that bunker down.
No, he needs to target fire the SCVs if he wants any chance of taking that bunker down. I think this is GG.
All the buildings unpowered. Game.
Unfortunately for Tardet Source, mGG pulled out the Platinum to try and steal a win off Blood Mist here, and it's not going to work.
Solid play.
I think you could really say that Blood Mist meta-game the gaming gods.
That's solid. He's really good at, like, that was really smart, just like making it look like he was expanding, and then just he didn't see when he pushed up to that bunker that there wasn't a command center there, and he didn't react fast enough. He still threw down his command center. He didn't throw down any additional gateways. He warped in the wrong units as the push was getting to his base, and then he just realized it was too late. He tried to lock in some additional stalkers, and then he couldn't kill that bunker as it was going down. Just solid play, and this is going to go down now.
Even if he was expecting to, still be able to defend the expansion, knowing that some kind of, early Marine pressure was coming, the Stalkers were just a bad choice. All he needed was 2 sentries, and he could have held that ramp indefinitely. And as we head into this map, we have the blue Terran, QED Blood Mist, spawning on the bottom right.
And in the top left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Terran 4 mGG, nice liquid. So guys, this could be it. This is match point for QED if they're able to win this. But however, I don't think it's beyond the reach of nice liquid to make a bit of a comeback here, and we'll have to see how this goes.
Not at all. As I said, I think Liquid has played on this map in their practices, and that's where QED should probably fix for the next practice session, is to actually try a couple of these maps, which we have missed out and we'll have to rectify in the future training sessions for sure. Because as we go around this map, we can see that it is a 1v1 map, so they do know where each other are being spawned. And the natural is like most naturals. I think is there no ramp? It's all flat, isn't it, the natural?
No, there's a ramp from the main to the natural, but then it's pretty much flat ground from there to the opponent's base.
It's very Cloud Kingdom-esque, the natural,
definitely.
And you'll notice that most of all the other bases aren't that easily defended. A decent choke point for Terrans can be made between the second and the third, but you still have that second ramp to watch out for. So all expansions after that are pretty exposed.
Yeah, in relation to TVT, this map kind of favours a mech-heavy playstyle, just in relation to like these platforms and just being able to siege up tanks and make nice kind of pushes and tank lines. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird map when you're first looking at it, but it does provide quite entertaining games. I remember there was a base race on this map Oh, when was that? That would have been a while ago, but maybe a week or so ago. I can't remember in the GSL. It might have even been the Code A, but yeah, the map has its quirks in how it works.
Of course, these platforms would be great places to siege up tanks, particularly because you could siege them up around where that watchtower is and get vision of all that lower ground spaced around.
Yeah, and it looks like Blood Mist actually wants to go for an early command center. Unfortunately, they get scouted. But he's going to need to...
But Liquid's doing the same, so... They're both very, very similar builds, not deviating too much. Liquid's obviously got a few more supply out than Blood Mist, but not by much. It's being replaced as we speak. They're evening up again, so not much difference there.
Yep, so what I like to see, and there we go, there's the first kind of deviation, the gas coming down for Blood Mist. I do like watching mirror matchups and watching when people do the same kind of build order, because I like to see like the little variances and then other things of that nature, like where they differ and why they do that.
Well, Blood Mist has gone for an early gas, but has only got one, and in response, Nice Liquid has got two, and the rest of the build is pretty much identical. And Blood Mist throwing out a bit of friendly BM there. I don't know if it's BM, I think it's referring to a Reddit post, which I'm sure someone in the chat will be able to find and link to everyone if they wish to see it. But yeah,
Was that
definitely
the
a bit of friendly banter. Oh yes, I vaguely remember seeing that one. I think it was posted by Gosu T-Gun, wasn't it?
Might have been. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it was. Alright. So we're seeing double gas from Nice Liquid compared to the singular for Blood Mist. So he'll probably be looking to tech up and maybe throw down some add-ons and things like that. Nothing set in stone yet. No factor or anything's come down, so we'll have to see what's in his playbook.
Yeah, so we can see he's got that combat shield up first instead of stim, which is an interesting opening from Blood Mist, going to combat shields instead of stim. I'm not 100% sure why. I would have thought that the combat shield would have been better for against Zerg than TVT, but I'm not exactly fully up on the TVT metagame, as I am only a gold Protoss, but I would have thought that stim would have been better in TVT than combat shields, but that's the way Blood Mist is headed in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Alright, so both players are not getting supply blocked, which has been a bit of a problem for some players tonight. But yeah, it's nice to see a smooth flowing game at the moment with no supply blockages. So it looks like both players are actually kind of mimicking each other, but it looks like Blood Mist is throwing down that bunker as he might have been anticipating a bit of early pressure.
Yeah, I'd say he was expecting that something might come. As he's not used to this map, he knows that Liquid's obviously played this map a bit as it was picked. People in the chat are saying that combat shield is greater than stim. I can see where it could be. Extra health does come handy, but the way it's worked, he will get his stim slightly after Liquid's, and they'll both be in pretty much the same upgrades as the early tech lab from Blood Mist nailed into research that combat shields earlier. But in reply, Liquid dropped a double tech lab at a later date, and everything will finish about even. So far, it's still pretty much even for this matchup.
Yeah, with the reactor now being thrown down on the factory, he'll be able to swap that over with the starport, and that's when stim starts to come into its own, when you can combine it with medevacs. So looks like both players are actually doing the same thing again.
The only difference at the moment is Nice was able to start his upgrade earlier than Blood Mist. Blood Mist has not started the upgrade yet, but he has got the engineering bay down.
Blood Mist taking the early...
Two more racks from Blood Mist.
Early SCV lead here, but he is behind on gas as Nice Liquid's taken the one on his natural, and he's been able to mine about 200 gas from that whilst it's been operational.
So if Blood Mist delaying this upgrade, whether he's forgotten to build it or whether it's just not in his build as of yet, it's going to be the major difference between the two of them at the moment. As the upgrade advantage will just continue to get higher for Liquid unless the double engineering bay in return from Blood Mist.
Yeah, no, you definitely need to looking at throwing down that second gas, and there we go. There goes the build command on it, just to try and catch up in relation to how kind of far behind he is in overall gas mined. And it looks like Nice Liquid's even going to make a little bit of a push here with his Marines.
Yeah, I think Nice Liquid's had enough time spent being passive, and now wants to find out what is going on with Blood Mist and how his defense looks. But Blood Mist is still happy being passive. Nope, they're both going to push out around the same time. These builds are almost identical. Liquid is starting to get that advantage now by having his siege tank down, and they're going to meet in the middle. Oh, beautiful snipes there from Liquid.
Oh, but that's not a good position to be in.
No, that actually worked out worse for Liquid in the end. It looked like he had the advantage taking out those medivacs first, but the Mist just had too many units, and they were firing, focus firing a lot better.
Yeah, no, it looks like Liquid's actually going to be swapping into siege tank play from here. Both players actually doing the same thing once again. Blood Mist still waiting to research his siege tech, which I'm sure will be on its way soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to leave that out too long. He has got +1 nearly finished now, so yet again, all the upgrades are nearly even. Liquid has started that plus level 1 armor, so that will finish before Blood Mist does. And he also has siege up before Blood Mist, but doesn't have the siege tank count yet to really push across the map with them.
Yeah, no, and he's throwing down. Oh, there we go. Both players throwing down a third base as well.
Yeah, it's very, very identical builds here. Scarily identical, really. It's going to come down to little micro situations like before, where Liquid thought he had the advantage taking out those medivacs, but the time he spent taking out them meant he lost way too many forces and was greatly outnumbered by Blood Mist's ground forces.
Oh, and a bit of a drop here in the main, so Blood Mist able to pull all of his SCVs, and he'll need to make sure he doesn't lose this medevac, but unfortunately due to the SimCity Blood Mist space, he's not able to get those Marines there in time. It looks like he's going to do a bit of a doom drop of his own in the split.
He's actually splitting the drop to try and find out if he can keep track of that medevac. This is very bold from Blood Mist. He's actually probably might even lose his medevac if he's not careful. I think he will lose it. He will lose the medevac. No, he won't lose the medevac, but he will lose some units. And his drop on the other side of the map is heading across, and will spot that third going down.
No units being pulled in response here for Liquid, so he's probably going to end up using or losing quite a few. Oh, he's going to place them down on the siege tank. Nice job there.
Very nice from Blood Mist. He's going to get rid of that siege tank before any... He's now going to attempt to run. The stim units will not catch him, and that medevac will come out with a nice little victory.
Transfer over to the third of Liquid.
This medevac is coming in for another drop, but there's missile turrets up there now, which may take out that medevac before anything drops out of it, and it does.
Nice.
A whole medevac worth of units lost. Blood Mist now, I think, is about even in upgrades. He should be even in upgrades now with that shield +1 finishing. And his armies are very, very similar. Very, very similar. Blood Mist is getting a slight advantage now in the supply, but he is not mining from his third yet, whereas Nice Liquid is already mining from his third. He's getting that nice and saturated slowly but surely.
Yeah, it looks like he's morphed it into a planetary fortress, which probably will end up helping him because he's quite far ahead in that harvester's count. And because it takes, I think it was, I remember hearing it on a stream the other day, I think it's 4 harvesters per mule, or 4 or 8 harvesters, can't remember which one. Sacrificing a mule every however many seconds in order just to have that planetary fortress is probably going to work out better for him in this situation with the harvester count being as it is.
As it stands though, Blood Mist is moving across the map. He's going to probably siege up those tanks shortly. I don't know if he plans on trying to take out that third. He probably has enough Marines that with a quick stim he could do it.
Oh wow, if you look in the unit tab, he's got a full 51 more Marines than Liquid does. So that'll explain where all the supply is. Oh, he's got considerably more. And that, most of that I assume would be tied up in the orders.
Liquid's going to come in here and try and defend this. He will lose the planetary, and he won't even get to snipe that one siege tank. This is not looking good for Liquid at all. Blood Mist is playing this very, very nicely. He's managed to deny the third while getting his own third up. This Marauder force is trying to sneak around, but Bloodmist has just managed to macro up quite nicely. And though he was behind on the SCV count, the mules have caught him up. He's got that third running and is now caught up massively by getting that nice snipe on the third.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how successful this little roving pack of Marauders is going to be in relation to how many tanks and stuff there are. He's got quite a considerable force here waiting at the base of his natural, so he can probably even just kill that outright. Oh,
but he will lose his third before he responds. And lose his own bunch of SCVs, which is not nice at all. Definitely a good trade there from Liquid. He's managed to get his own back with that one. But his forces are split. It might be wise for Bloodmist to try and push or try and isolate this force now that's roaming around and get the advantage that way.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do just that now. Liquid actually taking the supply lead after killing off all those SCVs. But it looks like all those tanks are just sieged up nicely there.
Oh, he will lose one. Tanks. No, he loses 2 tanks. But in return, he will be able to go straight into the base of Liquid and definitely target fire everything down here nice and quickly. Liquid has got those Marauders stimming as fast as they can back to base, but they're going to be so low health by the time they get there.
That's not where you want your SCVs, guys. So a bunch of those melting for Liquid there with a punt, and he's going to be able to take down the natural, it looks like.
No, he will not. He will actually end up die. That force will just fall. No, maybe he's got the medivacs are healing as quick as possible, and they will fall in the end. And those medivacs need to get out of there now.
Oh,
there's a nice tank out now set up for a nice Liquid.
He's lost all those medivacs, so that was a bit of an unnecessary.
Oh, that was all that nice work from Bloodmist has just been lost in that by losing those medivacs and letting those units die without a purpose, really. And with Liquid having such a nice tank line being set up now, Bloodmist is going to have a hard time pushing back into this in too much of a hurry. Though he does have a very large force of Marines heading across the map. Very large force of Marines.
Yeah,
and Liquid falling down, and mainly in medivac count. He's got no medivacs. He can stim these units as much as he wants, but he's got 2 medivacs now. They're coming in a bit late, but they're getting there.
Yeah, you bring up an important point that even though Liquid does have quite a lot of supply still in army, most of it's just going to be one-shotted by these Marines and tanks of Bloodmist. Oh, there we go.
Oh, not a nice sight at all for Liquid to see his Marauders and Marines just blow up like that. Bloodmist is going to keep the pressure on here. He's actually going to, in return, Doom drop the main. But these Marines do sense it coming, and they're going to go back up onto the high ground to try and defend this. But I just don't think they will be able to. This tank here is they're going to try and snipe the tank down. And they do get the tank up there, so now these units have got free reign up here, while at the same time the siege tank line is at the front of Nice Liquid's base.
Yeah, no, not a good thing here. Not a good position to be in for Nice Liquid as he's rebuilding a planetary fortress as he reestablishes his third, and Bloodmist easily just takes his fourth, very comfortable at the moment.
Yes, a ninja's fourth at that too, just to play it safe.
And look at the re-rally of troops over the map now, just the reinforcements coming in, producing Marines 12 at a time. Yeah, this is macro at its best, guys. Look how low their money is. This is how you need to play Terran.
Yes, both players are showing their ability to macro. Even Liquid in a position where he's on the disadvantage, he's still making sure he keeps on top of that macro. Definitely well done for a platinum level player. Bloodmist's macro slipping slightly, it's getting a bit high, but he's still managing to keep the production going. He's not falling behind. Every production building he has is building, except for the factory, but he's running a mech. I think he has got the siege tanks out now.
Unfortunately, he misses the double drop that's coming from Liquid, but Liquid must... Yeah, he remembers that those missile turrets are there, so he's going to try and... Oh, there goes the planetary fortress without being repaired. Another blow to Liquid's hopes.
Oh, definitely does not look good for Liquid. This drop will get into the main. I will try and snipe probably those missile towers and then sneak into the main, but he won't have enough to defend at home. Bloodmist is just trying to strangle Liquid out of the game here.
Yeah, no, definitely. 13 Marines at a time, and it looks like Liquid's actually going to try and run his force through the natural. which might not be a good idea because Blood Mist is just going to be able to stim into these medevacs. Oh. He just needs to focus up at home.
They're all small victories for Liquid now.
Yeah. He might have even been able to find this ninja base over here, the 4th for Blood Mist, so Blood Mist will need to lift that up and get rid of that. Oh, or maybe not. Yeah, and it looks like Blood Mist is about to stim and take out this whole group.
Oh, that medevac might just escape. Oh.
Alright, so Blood Mist right now should
Liquid
probably...
can't do much at all.
On the sensor tower goes up for Blood Mist, then Mana sensor tower just to see what's happening inside of his own base. And Blood Mist, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's mana, he's just trying to keep control of what's going on. He doesn't know what Nice Liquid is doing. He knows he's ahead and he's going to stim in and out and try and take out those tanks.
Yeah, something
now
really,
he's going to fall back.
Yeah, something really important to understand here is that... Oh, that's a bit loud. Is that Liquid is actually mined out of both bases now. He has no income in minerals. So he can't re-establish this third because Blood Mist at the moment is just throwing away free supply, 15 Marines at a time style. And yeah, not much he can do. Spends his last 200 minerals on 4 more Marines as Blood Mist begins 3-2.
Yes, no, it's definitely a matter of an end game situation for Nice Liquid now. He's put up a good fight, but unfortunately, Blood Mist has just been able to out micro. Really, it wasn't a macro situation. Liquid was ahead of the macro for quite some time there, but he just didn't have enough units out to defend when Blood Mist came and knocking. Blood Mist went for more units than SEVs, and Liquid went the opposite direction.
Yeah, although if he's not careful, he's actually going to end up and he loses that third base, and the medevac is going to come in to get these troops out of here. Oh, but there we go, the Doom Drop is going to take out all the production.
Yeah, there's not going to be much left now of Nice Liquid. He's trying his hardest, but he's mining again, but he's not going to have any production to actually build anything out of that mining base.
Looks like he's going to go for some sort of base trade here, just to try and force some outcome out of this.
Well, I don't think he realises Blood Mist has that 4th up. Even though Blood Mist is hardly mining combat, he does have it up at least. He presumes that Blood Mist is still stuck on 2 like him after isolating that 3rd, and hopes that he has enough to push through. It looks like it will be a GG from Liquid soon. The supply for Blood Mist is getting higher. Those tanks fell at the front of his base. It is a lot of units coming around the side here. I think that all the SCVs are being pulled. There's going to be an SCV all-in pull, and barracks being floated over. Liquid's clutching at straws here to try and get the win, and there's not even a GG. He's just left the game.
Yeah, no, that's alright. Alright, so guys, what that means is that QED has taken the first round of the Fusion Slugs Clan Tournament #1, 5-2.